been a while since I did one of these. Let's talk how to build golf clubs next. Welcome back to the McGolf Shop, and this is the McGolf channel where we talk about golf club repairs, golf club reviews, golf club fittings, also your scores can go low. If you would, like, subscribe, hit that stuff across the bottom. That way this message gets out to the YouTube universe, and our subscribership will go up so we can reach more people. If you would, join us Mondays at 5:30 Eastern for What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. And it's a live stream version, and you can ask me questions about golf clubs, opinions, that kind of stuff, and we talk back and forth with people from all over the world. Join us, you'll have a good time. All right, so you want to be a club maker, right? You want to be a club maker. Let's make some distinctions here. You want to be a club maker. That's not a club fitter. That's two different groups or two different skill sets. Two different people. It can be one person that's just really good at both. Okay. In club making, so what I tell you here and what I've said in the past is that any trained monkey can glue a club onto a head. And that's true. However, if you're going to be a good club maker, it takes a little bit more than that, right? So you have to have what I call workflow. All right. Now, workflow comes with work knowledge or product knowledge or how golf clubs work together, i.e., can you figure out swing weight in your head? Do you know what the weights of all these irons need to be along with the shafts and the grips in order for your swing weights to come out somewhere normal, or are you going to have to add weight? Can you add enough weight? Do you need to add weight in order to get to a certain spec? Okay. Then we talk about frequency, or flex, or if you want to talk about strain and how you want to do that. Again, it becomes your personal preference, okay, your personal preference. And whether or not you want to spine and flow, how you want to, or if you're going to be a person that finishes ferrules well, or if you're going to make a good looking club, or is it going to be a piece of slop that you're just going to hand to somebody and go, here you go, man, thanks a lot. And because you won't be doing it for very long, okay? But how do you get, so once you figure out all these things, and look, it takes a while, all right? It just takes a while in order to know the different weights. And I kept books and books for years, all right, on the things that I built and the way things took out. And to this day, I still create spreadsheets, or I still create build sheets. All right, this is what I'm doing right now for a person, and I'm waiting for all of it to start showing up for a finished product. Here's one that's even a little further. All right, I got more going on this one than I did the other one because I've done more. All right, and I have to keep track, and it's a record for me. And the more I do this, the more that you get to understand how the parts work. Okay, once you understand how the parts work, then it becomes skill based. How do you 355s into 370 hosels, or 370 tips into 355 hosels? What do you do with them? It's those kinds of skill sets that show up. But so what I'm here to show you right now is workflow. I've got 4 sets. I just got back from vacation yesterday. Today's Saturday. I got 4 sets I got to build. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you through them because I got to get them all built. They got to go out the door. In fact, one of these 4 I'm doing special for a gentleman. He's a 73-year-old golfer getting ready to go on vacation, and I want to surprise him with it so he can come today to pick it up. And we'll show you why. And I'm going to tell you why, not show you why, but tell you why that's possible. All right, so let's get started. So in any other case, and you're going to see me working really, really fast now, everything that you want to do is measuring what you have. Well, first out, you got to start it with a clean slate. You got to have a clean shop, right? If you have a sloppy shop, it's sloppy work. If you have a clean shop, it's clean work. That's just how it works. All right. If you ever go to any place that's highly professional, there won't be a whole bunch of crap lying about. There'll be, things will be in their place. Albeit it doesn't have to be neat as a pin, although I wish it was. But you just have to have things where it just looks like you know what the hell you're doing. Okay. So when we get to that point, now we're ready to go. So now we have to take all our components and we have to weigh them. I know I say this a lot, but it is one of the foundations to building a really good set of golf clubs. You want to make sure that you have a progression of weight and a certain tolerance between these heads, between shafts, and whether or not you have them between grips. So let's get a little bit more specific with that. All right, so when we're measuring heads, we like to have optimally a 7-gram progression between the heads. You get down between the pitch and wedge, the gap wedge, the sand wedge, that's going to be smaller. All right, but the other one's about a 7-gram. Now, does it have to be precisely 7 grams? No, it does not. It's going to be plus, because what you're looking at is at the tip of the club, it's a 2-gram shift for swing weights, right? If you have to have 2 grams for one swing weight. So if it's only 1 gram off, it's not a big deal. Now, if you wanted to be completely 100%, we'll say anal about it, then yeah, you can add it, but will it make a better product at that particular point? The answer is no, because there will be 0.0001% of the people on the planet that would be able to detect a 1 swing weight point change, okay? And it does not improve or lower the way that golf club will play. So once we have that, so we got those weighed out, we have those written down. The next one are the shafts, right? The next ones are the shafts. Now, we want those in a perfect world, we want them to be all the same. Now, here's where product knowledge comes into play. When I put a Modus 120 in a bunch of these clubs, it's a very popular shaft. Modus 120, you think, oh, it's a 120 gram shaft. No, it's not. It's closer to 114 to 115, actually closer to 115 to 113 in a golf club, okay? What you're looking for is the smallest tolerance. Now you go, okay, Jim, what's the tolerance here? The tolerance here in a gram, we're talking about swing weight change, is about 9 grams. Now that slides as you go down, but around 9 grams, 7 to 9 grams. So if you're off 1 or 2, is that going to be a big deal? The answer to that is no, because now you're going the length of the golf club. However, for a constant build, you want them as close as you want, as close as you can get them. If you can get them very, very close, and I'm telling you right now that Nippon has yet to disappoint, and I've had them here for years, and every one of theirs are within a gram, okay, or 2, and that's still okay. I have graphite shafts from Acra that do the exact same thing. That's the reason why I work with them. All right, quality shaft, to the point on one of these builds with the VRTXs, which is a Project X coming from my Acra friends, there was less than 1 gram difference. So that was an outstanding set, okay, an outstanding set. And once you get that, now when you have taper tips, right, you have different lengths. You go, oh, that's going to be different length or different weights. Not really. The whole idea is they call that constant weight, so they all want to be the same weight, okay, same weight. Now the next thing is the grips. If you get into the grips and you're weighing the grips out, you know, whether it has cord or whether it's a standard, mid-size, or jumbo, they're all going to have different weights. And if you're using something that is synthetic, or if you're saying that something is ultralight, for instance, Jumbo Max has an ultralight grip and it weighs less than what a rubber standard grip would weigh. Now you get into their tour and the damn thing is 70 to 80 grams heavier. All right, so you have to know your products in order to understand how it's going to affect swing weight when you're talking to people. So in this particular instance, we're weighing out a lot of Golf Pride, which we go through a ton of here, and we're going to do some wind, and I just installed some new icons from True Temper. Could be a good thing coming because it's an alternative to the Tour Velvets if you're into that kind of thing. All right, so now that we got all those things together, now it's a matter of making sure we have a proper fit. And as you see, I'm probably checking to see whether or not they're the right fit, because every once in a while we'll get a set of these 370s that come in, and now I've got to make them work. In this particular instance, none of that occurred, so we're good there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put them together, and we're going to check flow and spine. And I know this is a chicken or egg. Some people don't like it. Some people think it's worthless. Some think it is what the golf industry sets and finishes on. You got to have it. You just have to have it. Personally, I think it makes a better golf club. Whether you like it or not, I'm going to do it for you unless you tell me you don't care. So what do? We find the spine of the golf club. In better golf shafts, chances are you may or may not find a spine. All right, in a lot of cases, in the better top tier ones, they're really hard to find, or you don't find them at all, which makes it really great. You can put the logo up, down, sideways, whatever you want. On the ones that you do find it, I always put it at 12 o'clock. That means toe up, and I put it in my machine, which is the frequency machine, and I twang it, and I'm looking for a flow. Flow stands for flat line oscillation. Flat line oscillation means it's going straight up, because as you swing, the golf shaft will bend down. You know, they'll talk about this lead lag stuff, but when the stress of the golf swing makes it bend down. All right, and then I'm checking for frequency to make sure I don't have anything that's just completely jacked up. So what we're doing here, so what have we done? We've done a QA check. Now we're doing a precise fit check to make sure the product that we're going to make is going to fit. That's what we're doing. This is all dry fit, right? Once we get all that together, then we got to go to the bench. The bench is where the dirty stuff starts happening. And the dirty stuff here is we're prepping the tip to make sure that the epoxy has something to bond to. It doesn't like slick surfaces. So you see me and I run my wire bit inside of it to clean out the rust and maybe score it up a little bit. Now Mizuno's, they have ridges for that to go with, and Wilson they do not, so I hit it with the wire brush to clean and hopefully score it a little bit. Now again, we've taken care of the tip section and in order to do that, and we're also checking for fit. You don't want to take off too much. If it gets sloppy in there, then that eventually what's going to happen is the head's going to come off. So you want yourself a snug fit. You don't want it, doesn't need to be super tight, but it can't be wobbly loose. There's a pro tip for you right there. All right, so now what we do is we mix our glue. Now this is where I told you before I would tell you why I could make this one set. And I use two different kinds of glue, and they're both a 3M product. One's a pt1 black. The 420 black is specifically made for golf clubs by 3M. It has a longer work time, and that's the reason why I use it. I can make a lot of golf clubs in one sitting. Now I can't make them all because it tends to gel pretty fast, to the point at the end of the day I could probably start finishing these golf clubs. And be ready for them tomorrow, but we're not going to do that. The other one is the DP810. The DP810 is what is a common use on the tour. Why? Because it goes quick, right? It gels quick, it dries quick, it cures quick. And that's what they need. They want in, out, in, out, in, out on that trailer. They don't want to be waiting for tomorrow. They said, oh, I got to have this right now. Well, in something like this, that can happen. About a half an hour, they'll say 20 minutes. What it is about half an hour, 45 minutes, you got a club in your hand. And I did that. All right, I did that today. So I gave this guy what I call the tour van treatment, and we got all the clubs together, and I finished all my other ones. By the time I was done with my other ones, these things were ready for me to do all the finishing techniques on. So there's your glue. So depending on your shop setup, your basement setup or whatever, you can do that. Now, do you have to have 3M product down in there to be a quality club maker? Absolutely not. I use the stuff from GolfWorks, the 24-hour cure stuff from GolfWorks, for well over a decade. All right, and it worked just fine. What happened is our business started to expand, and I was starting to see a few failures that I did not like, and so I just left it and went to these where I'm trying to get to 0 failures. Has that happened? No. And I know why, and so I fixed that. Could I have done the same thing with the GolfWorks stuff? Probably. The GolfWorks stuff is really kind of cool in that I can accelerate the drying process with what I call a drying oven, and I still got 2 of them. One sits down here and the other one sits in the other room, and accelerate this 24-hour process and make it about a 2-hour process. And I still have the shear strength that I'm looking for. All right, that's glue. So once we get all that, I use the tape in order to make sure that I don't have any ferrule creep, and we set it for the next day. So that is the first section. This is going to be a 2-parter because this is a lot going on, and I don't want to bore you to death. But this is, for all you guys interested in club making, there's a truckload of information that's already been packed into this other one. Finishing techniques, all these other stuff is going to be in the next one. So in this So You Want to Be a Club Maker series, this is going to be, it's only a twofer, right? I'm not going to go much further than that. If you got more questions, put them in the show notes or get on me with the live stream. So what we got is 4 sets of clubs done. And because of my workflow and what we've done, as you've seen, I did the first one 8:45 to 9:25, and that was me getting started. Then 9:30 to 9:10, and that's about 40 minutes for that, and that was a bigger set. And then the last one went from 11:20 to 11:59, so it's taken me about 40 minutes to get through all of them. Now the last one went a little bit less, and that was because I had to move and shake because the glue does not wait. All right, the epoxy just does not wait. I probably did that in and there was fewer irons, so I probably did that in about 25 minutes. All right, so there it is. That's the beginning. That's to get you started. That's to get you set up for a successful, spec-worthy, everything you need to know, set up and build. Now the next part is going to be more skill-based, all right, on what we need to do. So join me on the next one. Like and subscribe, and as always, let's see your scores go low.